You've been running on 6 hours of sleep or less for the past week, maybe longer. You're tired, but you're functional. You've got coffee. You're managing. Here's what you don't know. Your brain is currently operating at a level comparable to being legally drunk. Your emotional regulation is compromised by 60%. Your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease just increased, and your body is actively eating itself from the inside. I'm not exaggerating. These are measurable, documented effects of sleep deprivation that are happening in your brain and body right now. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what 1 week of bad sleep does to your mind, why you can't just catch up on the weekend, and the one thing about sleep that the medical community only recently discovered that changes everything we thought we knew. Because what's happening to your brain while you sleep is far more critical than anyone realized. Let's start with a number that should scare you. 1/3 of adults are chronically sleep deprived. That's not occasionally staying up late. That's consistently getting less than 7 hours of sleep per night. You might be thinking, I feel fine on 6 hours, or I'm just not a person who needs a lot of sleep. That's your sleep-deprived brain talking. Because here's what research has shown. People who are chronically sleep-deprived lose the ability to accurately assess their own impairment. You think you're fine. The data says you're not. A study from the University of Pennsylvania kept subjects at 6 hours of sleep per night for 2 weeks. By the end, their cognitive performance was equivalent to someone who'd been awake for 48 hours straight. They were functionally impaired at the level of extreme sleep deprivation. But here's the disturbing part. When researchers asked these people how impaired they felt, they said they felt only slightly tired. They had no idea how badly their brains were performing. This is why sleep deprivation is so dangerous. Unlike being drunk, where you know you're impaired, sleep deprivation makes you unaware of your own cognitive decline. You're making worse decisions, having slower reaction times, experiencing emotional instability, and your brain is telling you everything is fine. So what's actually happening inside your skull when you don't sleep enough? The answer is going to make you want to go to bed early tonight. Your brain has a waste removal system called the glymphatic system, and it only works while you sleep. During the day, your brain cells produce waste products as they function. Proteins, metabolic byproducts, toxins, they all accumulate between your neurons. One of these waste products is called beta amyloid, and it's the same protein that builds up in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. When you sleep, your brain cells actually shrink by about 60%. This creates space between them, and cerebrospinal fluid floods through your brain tissue like a washing machine, flushing out all the accumulated waste. This process is most active during deep sleep. If you don't get enough deep sleep, the waste doesn't get cleared. Beta amyloid starts building up. And study after study has shown that chronic sleep deprivation is directly linked to increased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Your brain is literally poisoning itself when you don't sleep enough. But it gets worse. Sleep deprivation doesn't just affect your brain's cleaning system, it affects the structure of your brain itself. Brain imaging studies have shown that even 1 night of total sleep deprivation causes increased activity in the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and emotional reactions. At the same time, it decreases activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part that regulates emotions and makes rational decisions. What does this mean in real terms? It means that when you're sleep deprived, your emotional responses become 60% more reactive, while your ability to control those emotions decreases. This is why everything feels more overwhelming when you're tired. Why small problems feel like catastrophes. Why you snap at people over minor annoyances. Your brain's emotional regulation system is offline. A study at UC Berkeley used MRI scans to watch this happen in real time. They showed emotional images to sleep-deprived people and well-rested people. The sleep-deprived group showed dramatically more amygdala activity and almost no prefrontal cortex control. The researcher described it as the brain reverting to a more primitive pattern of activity, unable to put emotional experiences into context. You're not weak for feeling emotional when you're tired. Your brain's control center is literally disconnected. Now let's talk about memory, because this is where sleep deprivation gets really insidious. You know that feeling when you can't remember something that's right on the tip of your tongue? Or when you walk into a room and forget why you're there? Sleep deprivation makes this constant. Your brain consolidates memories during sleep, particularly during REM sleep. Information from your short-term memory gets transferred to long-term storage. Connections between neurons get strengthened. Learning gets locked in. When you don't sleep enough, this process doesn't happen properly. You can study all day, but if you don't sleep that night, your brain won't retain most of what you learned. Students who pull all-nighters before exams perform worse than students who study less but sleep more. Not slightly worse, significantly worse, but here's the really disturbing part. Chronic sleep deprivation doesn't just affect new memories. It can actually damage existing memories. Research has shown that sleep-deprived people have more false memories. They remember things that didn't happen. They forget things that did. Your entire perception of reality becomes less reliable. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I can just catch up on sleep on the weekend, right? No, you can't. This is one of the biggest myths about sleep, and it's causing massive damage. Sleep debt accumulates, but it doesn't repay on a one-to-one basis. If you lose an hour of sleep every weekday, that's 5 hours of debt. Sleeping an extra 5 hours on the weekend doesn't erase the damage that happened to your brain during those 5 days. Some effects of sleep deprivation are reversible with recovery sleep, but some aren't. The beta amyloid buildup, the stress on your cardiovascular system, the impact on your immune function, these don't just reset because you slept 10 hours on Saturday. And here's something most people don't know. Even one night of bad sleep has measurable effects that last for days. Let me tell you about the most shocking sleep study I've ever seen. Researchers at the University of California took healthy adults and restricted them to 4 hours of sleep for just one night. Just one night. Then they measured their natural killer cells, which are the immune cells that fight cancer and viruses. After one night of 4 hours of sleep, participants had 70% fewer natural killer cells than they had the day before. 70%. From one night. This is why sleep-deprived people get sick more often. This is why shift workers have higher rates of cancer. Your immune system is crippled without sleep. But it's not just your immune system. Sleep deprivation affects almost every system in your body. Your body's ability to regulate blood sugar decreases. After just 1 week of sleeping 5 hours per night, healthy adults showed blood sugar levels that would classify them as pre-diabetic. Your hunger hormones get dysregulated. Ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, increases. Leptin, the hormone that tells you you're full, decreases. This is why sleep-deprived people eat more and gain weight. It's not lack of willpower. It's hormonal manipulation by sleep loss. Your risk of heart attack and stroke increases. A massive study analyzing data from over 1.6 million people found that sleeping less than 6 hours per night increased the risk of stroke by 23% and heart disease by 48%. Your testosterone levels drop. In men, 1 week of sleeping 5 hours per night decreases testosterone by 10 to 15%, equivalent to aging 10 to 15 years. Your DNA itself becomes damaged. A study in the journal PNAS found that just 1 week of insufficient sleep altered the activity of 711 genes, including genes that regulate inflammation, immune response, and stress. Sleep deprivation is not a minor inconvenience. It's a systemic assault on every aspect of your health. And here's the part that should terrify you. You can die from sleep deprivation. There's a rare genetic disorder called fatal familial insomnia. People with this condition lose the ability to sleep. Within months, they experience panic attacks, hallucinations, rapid weight loss, and complete mental deterioration. Then they die. Sleep is not optional. It's as necessary as breathing. So why are we so bad at sleeping? Part of it is cultural. We've created a society that treats sleep like a luxury instead of a biological necessity. We glorify people who brag about functioning on 4 hours of sleep. We schedule meetings at times that require people to wake up before their natural circadian rhythm wants them to. But part of it is also behavioral. We've trained ourselves to have terrible sleep habits. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, so that coffee you drank at 4 p.m. is still in your system at 10 p.m. Alcohol might make you fall asleep faster, but it destroys your REM sleep and causes you to wake up during the night. We've built an environment that's actively hostile to sleep. Then we wonder why we can't sleep well. Here's what you need to understand. Every hour of sleep you lose is doing real, measurable damage to your brain and body. This isn't about feeling tired. This is about your brain failing to clean itself, your immune system collapsing, your emotional regulation breaking down, and your risk of chronic disease skyrocketing. The good news is that sleep is one of the most powerful tools you have for health, and it's completely free. So what do you actually do about this? First, stop negotiating with your sleep. 7 to 9 hours isn't a suggestion. It's a biological requirement. Treat it like you treat eating or breathing. And second, create a sleep schedule and stick to it. Go to bed at the same time every night, even on weekends. Your circadian rhythm needs consistency. Third, make your bedroom actually conducive to sleep. Dark, cool, quiet. No screens for at least an hour before bed. Your brain needs the signal that it's time to shut down. Fourth, if you're using caffeine to compensate for bad sleep, you're making the problem worse. Caffeine blocks adenosine, the chemical that makes you feel tired, but it doesn't erase the need for sleep. You're just masking the symptoms while the damage continues. And fifth, if you consistently can't sleep even when you're trying, talk to a doctor. Insomnia is a medical condition, not a personal failing. Sleep apnea affects millions of people and they don't even know they have it. The research on sleep is unambiguous. Nothing affects your health, your cognition, your mood, and your longevity more than sleep. You can eat perfectly and exercise daily, but if you're sleeping 5 hours a night, you're still damaging your body faster than you can repair it. Your brain needs sleep to survive, not to feel good, to literally survive. Leave a comment telling me honestly how many hours you slept last night. Just a number. No judgment. And if you know someone who brags about functioning on 4 hours of sleep, send them this video. Because they're not functioning as well as they think they are, and their brain is paying a price they can't see yet. Sleep isn't weakness. It's the foundation of everything else. Thanks for watching. Now go to bed.